let's get started, shall we? Welcome. My name is WriterMaven. If y'all know me, I commentate on all things Judgment Day. Dom, Liv, Raquel, Carlito, JD, Finn, and even Damian and Rhea. There's a lot of stuff that went down on yesterday, on SmackDown, even with the releases, which I will touch on. But I really want to talk about, starting off, is the word of the day is Schweinfeud. What is Schweinfeud? It is a German word that describes the pleasure or joy someone feels when witnessing another person's misfortune, pain, or humiliation. Now, why, might you ask, would WriterMaven be feeling Schweinfeud? Because all of last night and all of today, the social media timeline has been crashing out. Why is the timeline crashing out, you might ask? Because it looks like Io may not be able to get into Elimination Chamber in order for her to win the thing and face Rhea at WrestleMania. Now, that in and of itself wouldn't prompt Schweinfeud. So just Io not getting into Elimination Chamber as of yet, as of right now, doesn't prompt Schweinfeud. Like I said, this is. I mean, it's just to me that just gives me more confirmation of what I'm thinking and what I predicted, which y'all heard me say is that Io will get a title match at Elimination Chamber. That's cool. What's prompting Schweinfeud with me is the absolute crash outs of Io fans, Bianca fans, and Rhea fans. Now, I don't like to revel in fans' misfortune. I am a Naomi fan. If you know Naomi, you know she's been treated like shit for a while. Only now it seems like she's getting some traction back, and it took her leaving to TNA just to get some of that back. But if you're a fan of Naomi, you know that she's been down in the trenches. However, Strange Feud is kicking in because a lot of these Io and Rhea fans, I won't put Bianca fans into this because I think they're getting roped in just because of the rumors Sean Ross Sapp had of WrestleMania. But it's the Io and Rhea fans crashing out because they won't get their precious Io and Rhea match at WrestleMania, looks like. At no time did anyone say that it was being discussed or it was planned that Io and Rhea were going to have a wrestling match at WrestleMania. That came from Corey and that came from Ibu, and Ibu has been disproven. It's the same thing with the whole Judgment Day rumors with Riot 6, and I'm going to get to that too because they want to keep doubling down on that. So they said somebody on the internet said that it was going to be Io and Rhea at WrestleMania, and they absolutely ran with it. And now that it looks like Io is out of Elimination Chamber match for the chance to get to WrestleMania, they are just crashing the fuck out. And it's just been amazing for me to see. Because these are the same fans, or at least the stands. Not fans, I'm going to say stands. These are the same stands that were mocking Liv when she lost the title. These are the same stands that were mocking Liv fans when they tried to get a movement for Liv to get onto WrestleMania last year. These are the same fans that when Liv lost the title were just saying, "Oh, have some fun in the tag division and holding the tag rope." The Shank feud is directed at those people because now that it looks like, hey, Liv might have a chance of winning Elimination Chamber and getting back into WrestleMania. And now they're crashing the fuck out because their precious Io and Rhea won't have a match. Now, at no time did it look like Io was getting prepared for any type of match for WrestleMania. She lost cleanly to Liv. She just came off of a title reign last year, and she had a match at WrestleMania. You would think, for all the wailing and gnashing of teeth you would see on the X and on the social media, you think that Io has been off WrestleMania for years. Naomi fans like myself are just looking at them like in wonder because if you're a fan of any wrestler of color, that means Naomi, Sasha Mercedes Moné, Sasha when she was in the WWE, and just kind of like even like Carmelo Hayes right now. If you're a fan of any kind of wrestler of color right now, you know what you have to deal with as a fan, and how to you have to wait on sometimes waiting years for them to even get to a WrestleMania card or even a PLE. So when you see all these people crashing out about a match that was just talked about on social and wasn't even confirmed in the slightest sense, you're just it's just like I'm just looking at people crazy. And then it's like I said, it's shrink feud because you got people just crashing out over EO not getting there and then Rhea there. Okay, if EO even made it to WrestleMania, you know that EO is going to win that match. EO's not going to win that match. And EO's current form, she's not going to win against Rhea. Liv and or Bianca is probably the only people that would have a chance at beating Rhea at this particular moment. Nobody else. Maybe even Charlotte Flair. But there's like only 3 people main roster right now. I don't even think Alexa Bliss could beat Rhea at this particular moment. But it's just crazy at the crash out. And now it's just like, oh, this is such pain. This is just agony. It should have been EO. It should have been EO. Like I don't really get this rallying for EO because the her previous WrestleMania feud and her previous reign were complete dog shit and ass. It's like they completely forgot about all that. People were talking about that though her reign after she won the title. It was ass. The build to WrestleMania for EO was ass. Bailey saved it. And now y'all are just wailing and gnashing your teeth just because EO is probably not going to go to WrestleMania, or at least get the WrestleMania match against Rhea. There's a high chance that EO will be featured in some form at WrestleMania this year. Liv didn't have that chance last year. There was a lot of people, myself included, before I even got to be a really big Liv fan, that was really disappointed that Liv was being left off of WrestleMania. Nia too. Liv and Nia got left off of WrestleMania, and that they were used to build up the lackluster, along with Dom. They were used to build up a lackluster Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch feud. So if anybody should be on the WrestleMania this year, it should be Nia and it should be Liv. They busted their ass last year trying to pull anything out of this Rhea and Becky feud, so they should be on the WrestleMania card this year. And it's funny because after lost the title, y'all saw me how I was thanking Liv and Dom for the run. I was thinking about how I'm just looking towards having her get onto the WrestleMania card in any type of way. There was no gloating, there was nothing. I was just gloating about people that were just like, oh, it couldn't be done, and they were just ignoring all the obvious clues. That's who I gloated against. But just run of the mill fans, nah. A lot of Liv fans had to tuck tail and lick their bruises because of how she lost at the Netflix premiere. Because they went like a swerve when it shouldn't have been a swerve. Because all the signs shown that Liv should have been the champ. Because right now it looks like it should be the champ. If you look at this like picture that's floating around, you see that she's like the only top heel on Raw right now. The only top heel. So the Raw right now is built for a Liv run. But who has it? Rhea, who then proceeds to have a very lackluster. You had to have a very lackluster month reign, but as soon as they inserted Liv back into Rhea's reign, everything looks really, really good. But like I said, it's just swing through it at this point. It's just so much crashing out because a lot of people were just telling Liv, "Oh, get ready for the tag division." Now look at you. Now you're the one that has to figure out how you're gonna get your wrestler to WrestleMania. You know, don't be gloating. I'm not even wanting to gloat right now, but right now it's just a kind of a cathartic feeling at this moment because, like I said, Liv fans got shitted on horribly, like after Rhea won, and then they got shitted on horribly during Liv's run. Everybody wanted to blame Liv for the terrible run, even though everything was centered around Rhea's booking. Like, how is it Liv's fault that booking is making Rhea nigh impossible to beat? How is it Liv's fault that she has to run away? Like, everything got wrapped up into Liv and being Liv's fault, but now that she was away from Rhea, everything got exposed. Same thing with Damien. A lot of people were just ignoring Dom fans and Finn fans' complaints about no sell Damian Priest, no pop Priest. Everybody was saying, "Oh, now, because now when Damien moved, he's away, and oh, Damien got away from the Judgment Day vortex." But now that it looks like Damien is fighting Drew, now everybody's all concerned. Oh, he's gonna, because they saw how Damien was when she was fighting against Jacob Fatu and Tamatonga. Now all of a sudden, oh, Drew's got to be dealing with this person that doesn't sell. I was like, okay, now y'all concerned about no sell Damian Priest. But when fans were complaining about Damian when he was interacting with Dom and Finn and making them look like idiots, that wasn't a problem. But now that it's going to Drew, somebody you actually care about, now Damien's a problem. See what I mean? Like, when Rhea's overarching reach goes on to other people, now it's a problem. But in the case of Rhea now, she has to loop in Liv because everything is boring without her not being able to interact with her. Liv is the story. And that's why Liv had to get looped in. And now that, like I said before, now that I've been thinking about it, this might have been the plan all along. Just have Rhea have the belt going into WrestleMania, and then Liv can work her way back around, get into WrestleMania, win the title belt, and we can just carry on from there. So, how did we come about EO not being able to be in Elimination Chamber? So, it was reported yesterday that it was going to be Raquel and Roxanne in 2 weeks on Monday Night Raw for an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. And then on SmackDown yesterday, it was confirmed that it was going to be Chelsea versus Naomi for a qualifying spot. So since Alexa Bliss and Bianca won their matches tonight, we now have 3 spots filled. So that leaves 3 spots available. On Monday Night Raw coming up is going to be Bayley versus Lyra. So either one of them could qualify. Right now, it's such a toss up. You can go so many different ways with Bayley and Lyra. I almost would say that Lyra might even get in on that, but I'll get to that a little bit later in the Raw preview. But once one of those spots fill up, it's going to be 2, and that's filled with Raquel versus Roxanne Perez, and then on SmackDown it's going to be Naomi versus Chelsea, and that leaves no room for Io. Cue the crash out. And it was just so amazing and hilarious to see the contortions on the X. Like, oh, Rhea could beat up Raquel so Io can get in. Okay, so that's a heel move. So you're gonna have Rhea beat up Raquel to get somebody out of their match and put Io in there, and then you're still shortchanging Roxanne. So you want to shortchange Roxanne potential match just to get Io in there. And then you want to have somebody get taken out during these other matches just so Io can get in there. Like, it was just so many contortions. They're trying to start a hashtag. I was like, there's like a "We Want Io" hashtag, and then they were saying, well, it's trending. I looked into the trending just a couple of few like before I went live. It's not even really trending. You know who also had a trending hashtag? Liv had a hashtag last year. And look where it got her. She didn't even get a chance to get on WrestleMania. This is not a "We Want Cody" type movement. Because Liv had a hashtag, and that still didn't impact her getting onto WrestleMania last year. Zelina has been having a hashtag "We Want Zelina" or Justice for Zelina or something like that. Zelina Vegas has always had some sort of hashtag, but has that impacted her booking? No. Just because you can get a hashtag like that doesn't mean anything. And it has to be consistent. You know how whose hashtags has been consistent? Liv Morgan, Dominik Mysterio, and Liv Dom. During the height of the Liv and Dom summer, it was Liv and Dom that was trending all the time. I doubt EO is going to get to that type of trending. But like I said, people were just so sure that Liv was going to kill the tag, and now look at it. She's in a prime position right now, and yeah. So it's just a you just got to be careful what you wish for on certain things. Like you can't be certain of anything in pro wrestling. Pro wrestling can flip on a dime. You might be going in one direction, and then it flips on you and go another. I mean, that's just how it is. That's why I always have to say, you have to account for 20% of Triple H's bullshit. But even now, it seems like now people are kind of waking up to certain things regarding Triple H, and I'll get into that later when I talk about the releases. But you have to account for the 20% of Triple H's bullshit. So you have to take account for swerves, things that can swerve around back for Liv or against Liv. You never know. But right now, I'm feeling really confident right now with Liv. I'm giving it right now. I'm around 70%. I have to see what's going on Raw, and then I'll adjust and comment on it accordingly. Now, since EO is out, people wanted to switch around to Bianca because Sean Ross Sapp said that Bianca versus Rhea was being discussed. And then they were saying, well, now Bianca can win Elimination Chamber. Now, I am going to say my opinions on this. I do not think Bianca is winning Elimination Chamber. Why? Because, first of all, you don't want to put Bianca versus Rhea with about a month and a half of build. Like, you've been avoiding, Bianca and Rhea have been avoiding each other for about 2 years now. So now you want to hot shot it with a month and a half of build with no kind of hints. At least last year they were hinting towards Rhea and Becky last year. It was small, but at least they were hinting. This year they haven't hinted nowhere near with Bianca and Rhea. And you don't want, and I wouldn't think they would want to hotshot Bianca in there to Rhea, because if Bianca gets hotshotted to Rhea, Rhea's winning that match. And then somebody's going to have to turn heel for that match. And currently, both are faces. The same thing with EO. Both are faces. How are you going to have a face versus face feud? That was the problem with Becky and Rhea last year. They had to put Dom in there to generate the boos so Becky wouldn't get booed against Rhea. Right now, you have nobody to play off of. So it's just going to be a face Bianca, and I really don't think she's going to be turning heel. She is still too active in the community. She's a really active face for the WWE, for people of color, and just she's has the same thing kind of with Naomi too. But at least with people of color, she is a face for the WWE, and I don't think they want to turn her heel just yet. She still gets her pops. It's not like it's dwindling. So, and she's, like I said, she's the face of the WWE, so I don't think she's going to be turning heel. I mean, that would just be a waste of a heel turn, just to turn heel just for Rhea. I can see a heel turn like in the case of the Jade and Naomi thing, because I guess because that's another reason why I don't think Bianca is going to be Rhea's opponent, because you still have the Jade situation. So you're going to shortchange Jade and Naomi's storyline just to hotshot Rhea into a lackluster Rhea feud. They're still putting a whole bunch of money into Jade Cargill, so I don't think they're just going to pull the plug just so Rhea gets it. Some kind of way it's going to be Jade, Bianca, and Naomi at WrestleMania, and I'm not sure how they're going to do that and when they're going to pull the plug on this attacker thing, but that's an already encapsulated storyline. They haven't really referenced it much, but you're kind of starting to still see heel tendencies on both. But I'm still thinking that's a Naomi heel turn. So, but again, the Jade, Naomi, and Bianca story is encapsulated. That's their storyline. That's their storyline that's been going on for months, and that could carry them into WrestleMania. Rhea has none of that. And see, again, that's the problem. Rhea never has the storyline. It's always matches with Rhea. And you can't keep doing that with her because it's just so lackluster. So with Bianca, like I said, Sean Ross said it was discussed. He did not say it was planned. You know who he did say was planned? It was Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. That was what he said the feud was planned for. He did not say it was Bianca and Rhea was a planned match. He said Tiffany and Charlotte was the planned match. And like I said, with any kind of these dirt sheets, you have to take it with a huge grain of salt because remember they were reporting that Alexa was going to be on Raw brand, but now it flipped around and then now she's on SmackDown brand with all the hints towards her and Wyatt Six doing something. So it ain't gonna be Bianca. In fact, I would expect to see like Jade coming back and doing something to Bianca and or Naomi, and then because I think Naomi is going to get into the chamber. I think she's going to win. I don't think anybody's going to be taken out like to take somebody else's spot. I think that's wishful thinking at this moment because why would you have Io trying to take somebody out so she can go back heel and do what? What would she do after this? She's just a heel, and it's not going to. I don't think people would really go boo her. It's not like she was getting booed when she was healed before. I mean, at least Liv gets mixed cheers, but as soon as she does those three amigos, she's getting booed. When she eliminated Alexa, she got booed. So Liv can at least generate the boos. I don't think Io can do that. And speaking of Alexa Bliss, Corey, who I get into it about almost weekly regarding him because they are really holding on tight that Judgment Day and the Wyatt Six are feuding. And then he wanted to amend his like little prediction. Now it's going to be focused in on Alexa and Liv during the Elimination Chamber. Okay, nothing has hinted towards Liv and Alexa Bliss feuding. Just because Liv eliminated Alexa doesn't mean it's going to be a feud. There's a lot of people eliminating people in the World Rumble. You're gonna get some hints, but maybe that's a feud for way on down the line, not now. And focusing it on Liv and Alexa means what? First of all, they were saying it was going to be the full like Judgment Day and Wyatt Six. When people were saying, "How are you going to have the full Judgment Day when Finn and Dom are already like friction point?" So you're going to have Finn and Dom be at each other's throats while they're fighting against the Wyatt Six. You see how that doesn't make sense? Like, it's one thing to have these little rumors here, but at least make it make sense into what's going on screen. Like Finn and Dom, having this all this friction and heat with each other right now doesn't make sense for a feud with Wyatt Six because I don't think a feud would bring them together. I mean, they're not even being brought together with feuding against what was it, Damien and like War Raiders. So what would Wyatt Six gonna do? And then now with JD and Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy injured, I mean it's gonna be a really limited feud. And then Corey was saying, well, you can still have it where Liv and Raquel get the tag titles, and then they can be cross brand. So you're gonna have a cross branded WrestleMania feud. It can have been done before, but that was usually restricted around Roman Reigns, and you had a lot of people on different brands coming together like the Avengers for that. I don't think they're going to be doing that here. And again, this Sean Ross Sapp said that it wasn't going to be any kind of Judgment Day and Wyatt Six feud. And like I said, take it with a huge grain of salt, but Sean Ross Sapp is a little bit more reliable with his information than some of these other dirt sheets. Like the Judgment Day Wyatt Six thing, I don't know where that rumor came from. It's the same thing with Io and Rhea, and I think somebody just got fed some really bad information, and then people just ran with it. And then instead of retracting it or like amending it, um, they just kept going because people were saying Io and Rhea, and then Io was going to win the Royal Rumble, but look what happened. And then they were saying, oh well, Io can win Elimination Chamber. Now look what happens. You see how all the predictions are just getting vaporized with each PLE up into the road of WrestleMania. So, you have to treat the dirt sheets you got to take it with a huge grain of salt. Even Sean Ross Sapp has gotten things wrong. It's just that Sean Ross Sapp will take time to verify things before he says something, so he's a little bit more reliable. But anywho, like I said, this crash out has been spectacular. And also another thing is that Nia is going to be facing Tiffany next week on SmackDown. So that kind of even takes out Nia for Elimination Chamber. So it's not like she can even get into the match either. That's another person I was expecting to kind of get in, but Nia's not even in it. So what? I would think she would have more cause to like rip off a door to get into Elimination Chamber than Io. SmackDown also said that Damian is going to be going up against Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu for Elimination Chamber, and people are freaking about that because now they're thinking Damian can get into Elimination Chamber. I'm just laughing about it because, like I said, now y'all want to be concerned about Damian. Now that Jacob Fatu might have to lose against Damian, now y'all are concerned. So, I mean, because it could be Damian gets in there to kickstart any kind of Drew McIntyre type feud. So, who knows? And yeah, so like I said, it looks like Io is out of Elimination Chamber. Things can change between now and March 1st, but it's not looking good for Io. At least getting into the chamber match. Now, like I said, come Monday, we will know. I think we will know what's going to be happening with Io, because if Rhea comes out there and offers Io a shot at her title Elimination Chamber, because that looks more likely now, because now that Tiffany and Nia is going to be having their title match on SmackDown, you're going to have some kind of other match at Elimination Chamber. So that looks like Rhea will be on Elimination Chamber just so they can have a match for her there. If Rhea offers Io the match, then we know what's going on. That means it's going to be a 50-50 shot right now, looking of Liv and Bianca. And like I said, I am leaning towards Liv. If that happens, you have to account for Triple H's bullshit. But if it's Io and Rhea at Elimination Chamber, it's going to be Liv and Bianca as the final two, probably for Elimination Chamber, and Liv's probably going to win that. Other coping measures is that people want to force Io into like a triple threat, saying, well, if Liv wins, Io can get in there too. Why are you going to now, like, WrestleMania ain't the time for triple threat matches. You can, people complained a lot of the times when there was a lot of triple threat matches for a lot of these titles, and for right now, this doesn't the Liv and Rhea storyline. If Liv gets in there, shouldn't be a triple threat match with Io. Io will just drag that down because what is she going to say? What's the history that she could add to the match, a triple threat match with her, Liv, and Rhea? At least with Rhea and Liv, we have history, and like I said the other day, this is the time where we need to use the history. We need the history that was denied to us. We need the history where we could see that Dom is the mastermind. We need to see the history of why Dom turned on Rhea, and it wasn't just because of chicken TDs and she lets me play video games. We need to see the history of Rhea taking out Liv's arm and what Liv had to go through, what what Raquel had to go through with her injuries. This is more this. If they get to Liv and Rhea, this should be more like a history laid bare for Rhea. Chickens come home to roost. Everything needs to be out there, and they should not be trying to revise history. Like, we should not be hearing Michael Cole say that he was warning Rhea about Dom. We should not be hearing Michael Cole say that Edge manipulated Rhea into Judgment Day. We need the actual truth, and maybe this time they'll actually get it right this time. Kind of being all over the place, but that's just my thing, because like right now, to me, I just can't believe all the crash out with Io. Like, I mean, I know Joshi fans can be something else and really dedicated, but when you have these fans compared to some other fans that actually had to wait to get on the WrestleMania, or were always on the pre-show of WrestleMania when we had that, if anybody remembers the WrestleMania pre-shows, where a lot of the women would have to be on the pre-show just to have a match. This is before they went to two nights. Like, if you're a fan of a wrestler that was doing that when they were on pre-show, then this EO thing is something else. But anywho, before going to Raw preview, let me talk about EC a little bit. With Damien taking that last spot, Damien, Braun, and Jacob Fatu, it looks like Dom is out of Elimination Chamber. See how I'm not really panicking right now about Dom being out? Would I like Dom to have a match in Elimination Chamber? Yes, but I'm not crashing out about it. People are saying, well, what about the little preview of him at Elimination Chamber with Braun and Damien? So if Dom is out of Elimination Chamber, I am taking this as a sign that Dom might get into an Intercontinental Championship title match with Braun Breaker. Because if you look at the little game that was going on this past Monday, it had Damien, who Dom has beaten before, and Braun Breaker, and Dom did toss out Braun Breaker at Royal Rumble last year. So you could use this like as an early spoiler of Dom winning the Intercontinental title from Braun Breaker, because they will need matches in between both chamber matches at Elimination Chamber. Because you're gonna have both matches. You're gonna have men's and women's, and then you're going to have you got to have something to fill those gaps. You're probably gonna have a Rhea match, and then you can put in a Braun Breaker match. Um, Maybe even Cody match if they wanted to do that. I'm not sure. It seems like that's gonna be a little tight to reestablish Cody and maybe Solo, because Solo returned that the other day. So I'm not sure if you want to do Cody. That seems like that rest of still. Like Kevin Owens thing was like over the course of a couple of few months there. So I'm not sure how if Cody will figure in there. They might. They might do like a 5 match card. Like Royal Rumble was 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's because Royal Rumble was 4 matches, but that's because Royal Rumble is like an hour long each. Elimination Chamber I don't think is that long. You can probably get 30 to 45 minutes on those. So they might need another match. But I think Dom can get into the Intercontinental title if they decide to put that on the card, especially if Cody's isn't there. If they don't do Cody Soto at Elimination Chamber, then they need another title match. And I don't think it's going to be a tag title, and I don't think it's going to be United States Championship, because nothing's been set up for the United States Championship. So I think it's going to be IC. So there's also a chance that Dom could do, what they want EO to do, and just like somebody take out Finn and take his spot. That would be something. Like Dom takes out Finn, or somebody else takes out Finn, Dom gets in there, and then he happens to win against Seth Rollins. And then that could be something that triggers Seth, because he's out and he can't get to CM Punk. So you could do that too. Notice how I'm being realistic with this. I mean, right now it's looking like Dom is probably out, but he can get into Intercontinental, or he can still like take out Finn and then take his place, because that's happened before. We have an established replacement of Dom taking somebody's place. Dom took the place of Finn with JD for the tag titles, and then he could take the place of Finn here if Finn was taken out. See, it's something that's established in the lore right now, like Dom taking somebody's place. EO taking somebody's place right now is not something established. Like, she would have to have many reasons, and they got to set it up really well just for her to probably take out somebody. And Rhea taking out somebody is just a heelish tendency. Like, if you're going to be wanting to make it up to EO, you need to be making it up to EO. You don't be taking away somebody else's spot. Because faces really do that. Even like the edgier, faces would be doing that. Now, you might come down there and interfere with the match, but just doing that so somebody else can get into a match? Nah. like I said, you got to be real careful with Rhea because she's already not really a face. So, like, I'm hoping if we do Liv and Rhea, that it's just that this is a opportunity to reestablish Rhea as a face because she never did have an official face turn. Yes. So releases. Now, releases really show that the process is fucked, like royally fucked when it comes to Triple H. Because these releases were ass on multiple levels. Like Cedric Alexander was released along with Blair Davenport, Sonya Deville, Paul Ellering, and AOP, and Giordano Da Vinci, and the Good Brothers, and Isaiah Dunn. Now, Giordano Da Vinci never got a chance, like at all. He's like a Cameron Grimes. Same thing with Blair Davenport. They never got a chance. Like they got pulled from NXT and then had nothing for them, and then they had nothing for them, and then they're just gone. Like they pulled Giovanni Da Vinci from they pulled him from Imperium, and they want to say there was a rumor with him hitting on Tiffany, but still, like that just seems like if he was causing that amount of heat, that seems like they would just immediately release him. It makes no sense to like move and then just, I guess, maybe wait for a good time, but still, like you could still have been doing something with Giovanni Da Vinci because he did have a nice presentation. I liked his presentation in NXT, like when he had the still shots. Those were funny. They was hilarious. Like in NXT 2.0, those were cool. But he never got a shot. Blair Davenport, I always called her Cruella de Vil because of her white hair. But she was another person that never got a shot. She came up, she fought against Naomi, she kind of was joined up with the Witches of Alba Fire and Isaiah Dawn, and then that stopped. And then she's released. And then Isaiah Dawn, one of my favorite witches, like she was cool too. She has a really nice presentation, and I don't know what's going to happen with Alba Fire. Like, is Alba Fire going to get released too? Then Sonya Deville, like that just like breaks up Pure Fusion Collective. So what are they going to do? I guess they're going to move forward as a tag team without her. But Sonya Deville was a really nice mouthpiece. She could have been a manager. Like, if they had her dedicated to be a manager, she would have been really well. And she's gone. AOP and Paul Ellering, they just got brought back, and then they just used them for the Wyatt Six feud, and now they're gone. And then Good Brothers, they always seem like they're always getting released some kind of way. And then Cedric Alexander, they chopped him off at the knees when they disbanded the Hurt business. So maybe he can land on his feet and join the Hurt Syndicate and AEW and join up with Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and Bobby Lashley. Maybe he can land on his feet there. But these releases just show that the process is fucked because they were using Isaiah Dawn and was it Cedric Alexander almost to the minute to up to where they released. Like y'all were using them, and then like the next day y'all released them. I think Isaiah Dawn was on speed last night, and then she got released today. So that's just fucked up. Like you have them work one thing and then you release them. Sonya Deville had an interview and then she got released. Like it's just fucked up. And then of course when the releases happen, you always got somebody they say, well, why is so and so still on the roster? I'm like, how would y'all can wish for somebody to lose their job? You may not like them, but you're still wishing for somebody to lose a job. I cannot stand that. These are people's livelihoods. Even if I think of you know, it might be expected for them to be released, I'm not taking any kind of joy in somebody getting released. Because poor Raquel, she was going through it this weekend again because they had announced Roxanne versus Raquel for that Elimination Chamber spot. It was like, oh, we're saying it's going to carry Raquel. Oh, why couldn't Raquel get released? And I'm like, they just stay on her neck, and I can't stand it. Like, Raquel, you're going to deprive Liv of her best friend and Raquel Rodriguez just because you want Liv on her own or you want Liv and Dom on their own. Like, that's just fucked up. Like, no matter what you're thinking about Raquel, I am not thinking of wanting somebody to lose their job. There's a lot of people that I'm not fans of, but I am not wishing for somebody to lose a job just because it doesn't fit into what I would want to see in wrestling at that particular moment. It's a job. It's a livelihood. People got families to feed. They got people to take care of. They got to take care of themselves. You never know a wrestler story. And for some people to sit here and just wish for somebody to get released is massively fucked up. And I said what I said. And like I said here, with Triple H, all these releases just show that the process is just fucked. Because how you gonna bring up Blair Davenport and Da Vinci up and then have no plan for them? The same thing happened with Cameron Grimes. The same thing happened with Dijak. And with Dijak, I was really, really hoping that they could bring in Dijak as the actual bounty hunter to go after Dom, or be like Dom's bodyguard or Dom's parole officer or something like that. He had that aesthetic where it could have fit with Dom's aesthetic and narrative. And then look what happened with Dijak. Cameron Grimes, he couldn't even get off the ground. He had a really cool, good, like a kind of like a country redneckish, like that hit it rich in the stock market. Had a banger theme too. I love Cameron Grimes, and he got released. But anyway, like I said, process fucked. Always been fucked. So hopefully all these people can land on their feet. Good Brothers, I don't know. They ain't been in the game. They'll probably pop up somewhere else. But I'm hoping like people like Blair Davenport and Da Vinci and Sonya, they get to do some other stuff. Same thing with Isaiah Dawn too. I hope they be able to land on their feet somewhere else. And if they do end up back in the WWE, cool. But if not, I hope they are able to land on their feet. Raw preview. Right now, it's going to be Bayley and Lara for a chamber spot. I'm not sure what can go on here. You could have Roxanne try and cost Bayley, or you can have Cora Jade try and beat Bayley, and Lyra gets in there, or Lyra can lose due to Ivy Nile. It's a 50-50 shot. Which whoever gets in there, I'm kind of leaning more towards maybe Lyra. I know she has something going on with Ivy Nile, but that can kind of she can kind of deal with Ivy Nile in the build up to Elimination Chamber if they wanted to, because Bayley could go out, and then with Roxanne, I'm gonna do a little future theorizing here with Roxanne and Raquel. I don't think it's an automatic win for Roxanne. People are all just saying, well, how can you? She's on the main roster. You don't want to start her off strong. Yeah, you do, but then you don't want to hot shot her either. I know Tiffany was on the main roster and got into Elimination Chamber, but she was she was what was Tiffany doing? Tiffany was involved with Tiffany was like Roxanne when they're involved with main roster, but I don't want them to hot shot Roxanne. Tiffany, I think they were kind of hot shotting a little too early there, and it just worked out for her in the end. But with Roxanne, I think they need to be a little bit more careful because of her stature and stuff like that. She's a really good wrestler, but I think with Roxanne, it's going to be a little bit different than Tiffany. Tiffany is, built differently, and Roxanne is built differently. And I think it's going to be a little bit different for her. And I don't want her to get hot shotted just because they want somebody in Elimination Chamber. I think Raquel has a really good shot of getting into Elimination Chamber because you can get creative with losses where you're protected in a loss. It doesn't say that Raquel has to pin Roxanne. You can go count out. You can go ref stoppage. You can do a lot of different things. Just like what happened with Liv on Monday. Liv got a DQ win. You can do things a lot of different ways. And with Roxanne, you can have Cora cost her because there's that fight. See, Cora could get jealous with Roxanne, and that would be like after their Vengeance Day match. Because that Vengeance Day match is coming up this Saturday. So you can have Cora Jade come in and mess with Roxanne and have so they can have that feud, and then you can have even Bailey come in if like Roxanne did something to Bailey. You have Bailey do something to Roxanne, and that helps Raquel win because I think Raquel can get in there. Um, I think Raquel needs to rehab her image a little bit more, and I think this could at least help Raquel rehab the image. She gets in there, she helps Liv. Maybe she gets accidentally eliminated in the elimination chamber, and then it goes down to the wire of like Liv, Bianca, maybe Naomi or something like that. But you can do a lot of different stories in elimination chamber with Raquel. Roxanne is just being there probably just for an exhibition because there's no storylines going into there. At least with Bianca, Naomi, and with Alexa, there's some storylines going into it. So I don't think there's a lot of other stuff advertised for Raw. I mean, it's gonna be Seth and Finn. Finn, like I said, either Finn straight up loses or Dom takes his spot. If it's Finn, uh, oh, I think Finn is not this Monday. It's gonna be Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio. So Logan Paul is probably gonna get into it. I would be really surprised if Rey did beat Logan Paul and got into there because that would be funny if they got Dom in there too. You never know. I don't know what else is going on Raw. I mean, it's not like a whole bunch of previews, even though we got 3 hours again. So I don't know. But with Finn and Seth, like for the week after next, I think they can do something where because Finn probably just going to have to lose straight up, or he's going to have to get like replaced. So anyway, I think that's it for my what I wanted to talk about. Charlotte. Oh, I do want to talk about Charlotte a little bit because Charlotte is having two champions beg her for them to challenge them, and it's just so out of place. I really don't like it. I'm not sure what they're doing with Charlotte because I guess she's going into this heel character again. But again, this is a heel character we've seen before, so it's nothing new. And she's probably going to choose Tiffany. And BC Amplified, the commentator that I listened to, said that they might even insert Nia into that match just so she could take a pin so Tiffany doesn't have to take the loss for Charlotte, and that could end up happening. Now that would probably be a way to get a triple threat match, not with Rhea and Liv possibly, or whoever else they want to put in there. But let's answer some questions, shall we? Okay. Senor says friends are released twice. Good Brothers, yeah. Like I don't get why you keep bringing them back and then releasing them. Because I would think Good Brothers and maybe even AJ could link up with Finn after he gets kicked from Judgment Day. So that's what I was thinking. But now they're gone. Maybe Finn could probably still link up with AJ and be Bullet Club again or something like that. Senora says, "Do you expect Becky returning before WrestleMania?" I think she still has some projects. I think they would almost want to save that to Raw after WrestleMania. Because if Becky returns now, what is she doing? I mean, she can join into any kind of, feud, and she could do that with Liv, without a title build if they wanted to go that way. But what would be the point right now? I would just have, I would just hold off on Becky and then return for the Raw after WrestleMania, and let that be one of those big, one of those huge returns. Because if Liv has the title and wins it at WrestleMania, and she's gloating about it, that's when you can trick. That's when Becky can return, and then that kicks off that little feud. You know what I mean? Like I would keep Becky in the back pocket for now. Let's see. Senor says, "Are you enjoying the Kofi Mania? Are you talking about Yeet Mania or Kofi Mania? Kofi Mania, I enjoyed because that was really organic. There was a lot of callbacks. The Usos forfeited their their spot in the gauntlet so Kofi could win. So that was really nice. That's what was needed for Jay. With this yeeting thing for 20 minutes, I can't stand it. Yeah, audience participation is really good, But just sitting there watching people yeet for 20 and 30 minutes out of each show where we could be getting something else, it's just been exhausting. Like, compare what Jay was doing to what Jimmy was doing on SmackDown. You see how Jimmy held his own against Drew McIntyre when they had their little promo battle there. I mean, Drew got some good shots in, but then Jimmy got some good shots in. I will always say that Jimmy's the better twin. Like, if I look at Jimmy, I know he can hold his own wrestling wise and promo wise. With Jimmy, it's just, I mean, with Jay, it's just like he's boiled down to yeet and, starts floundering with all the other promos, and then his wrestling style isn't all that great. I mean, he has the super kick and then a really shitty spear. Like, this Yeet Mania, I mean, people may enjoy it, and I'm happy for them, but I think there were better. I just think there were just better choices to win. I rather have CM Punk. I rather have John Cena. I rather have I could even say Roman Reigns again if they wanted to. But if I had a choice, it would have been CM Punk or John Cena. Let's see. Elizabeth says Damian Priest is going to be on Monday Night Raw. I know they said he's featured, but I'm not sure he's going to be on. Because if he's on, why would he be on? They need to have an excuse. At least this week, when Akira showed up, they had a reason that Adam Pearce said to Alice that he's sitting over Akira just due to Carmelo costing Akira his spot on the Royal Rumble. At least they put in a built-in excuse there and put some effort into it because the transfer window is closed. Damian Priest might be there, but he might be there for some post-show stuff, or maybe he's there for Rhea. But they would need to have an excuse for Damian to be there because why would he show up now? He's on SmackDown. I mean, maybe the featured player might be just like a misprint or something like that. Let's see. Senor says, do you think Bayley versus Roxanne will take place at WrestleMania or Stand and Deliver? It might just be Stand and Deliver. But I think they might even do like Roxanne versus Cora to give Cora a big win and then write off Roxanne to the main roster, like officially. So they might like do Cora versus Roxanne at Stand and Deliver. And then they can do Bayley and Roxanne maybe at WrestleMania. I don't know. I don't know. But they got a couple of different ways they can go with Roxanne. That's why I was saying I don't think that she needs to be in Elimination Chamber because she has some storylines that she can do with the main roster that doesn't include Elimination Chamber. So yeah, so that's why I was saying like I don't think that we need to see Roxanne in Elimination Chamber just because she has all like multiple storylines at this point with NXT still. Tiffany was at least officially fully on the roster and she wasn't going back down to NXT like Roxanne is. So I wouldn't want Roxanne to keep going like back and forth there. Senor says probably not. Seller Damien pin Strowman next Friday, protecting Fatu's credibility. Yeah, that's probably could happen. I'm kind of hoping that Fatu just gets in there just so he can wreak havoc because him just tearing apart stuff for Elimination Chamber would be cool. And then you can like write him off in Elimination Chamber, like him getting knocked out or something like that, just to protect him, where he doesn't have to get pinned. Like you can do different ways to protect people in Elimination Chamber, like not getting pinned per se, where it doesn't look like he has to take a loss. Kendall says, if Dom gets a qualifying match, who do you think his opponent is? Now, right now, Kendall, all the slots are closed. So if Dom wants to get in, I think he would have to take the place of somebody. So that's why I'm saying it could be Finn. We will probably find out probably on Monday on how things are going to go with Dom. Either we'll see Dom like starting to mess with Braun Breaker, or we'll see like maybe Finn if something happens with Finn, and then Dom has to step up and take his place. It will be really interesting to me if like we see Finn like mysteriously taken out. And then you have Adam Pierce there, and then Dom steps up and goes like, "No, I'll take his place." And then Adam grants it because Dom made the match for Finn or convinced Adam Pierce. I don't know how he did it, but you remember Dom was the one that set up the match for Finn. So if Finn gets taken out, you know, I think out you can put it in. It won't be out of place for Dom to replace Finn because he made the match, and Dom actually replaced Finn when Finn wasn't showing up for the tag team title match. So it'll be really interesting. We'll have to see what happens on Raw. I mean, and even this might not even happen until like Raw in 2 weeks. But to me, it would just be really, really interesting to see Dom like take Finn's place. Like Finn is like down and out. He can't do anything. Like he's unconscious. Like that was so he's gotten beaten. Nobody knows what's going on. And then Scrap Daddy is panicking. And then Dom is like, "Hey, wait, I can take Finn's place." So he doesn't, to represent the Judgment Day. And then Scrap Daddy grants him the spot. But if that doesn't happen, I need to see Dom interacting with Braun Breaker or something like that. Elizabeth says Jade is supposed to return during WrestleMania. Yeah, she's training to return, and she's been down there in the performance center. Same thing with Ilya Dragunov too. Like they both been down there training um, in the performance center. Elizabeth says, "I think Liv could win the Elimination Chamber." Yeah, if it stacks up the way I think it is, then she has a really good shot of winning. That's why I'm saying now, like maybe this was the plan. Maybe they wanted to have Rhea for some reason have the title. Like she still hasn't done any advertisements. Have y'all seen how she's not still doing the advertisement? Like she went to Netflix. What was it before Royal Rumble? But it's still like really scant on what she's been doing. Meanwhile, Liv was like all over the place as Chip. It's just really glaring the difference here. A friend of mine on the X had a point of saying like if you're a champion, you should be doing like all the press, all the interviews and things like that. And I have to agree. Like if you're a champion, I should be expecting to see you like all over the place doing all the interviews. Like I shouldn't be expecting like to see Liv and Dom do all these interviews and just busting their ass media wise while the champ is like doing jack shit. Let's see. Senior says Rhea in her WrestleMania matches are actually not actually scheduled. Yeah, it just seems like they all kind of like fall into place or like barely come together. Like and like I said with Rhea, I think her problem is just that she wants the matches. She don't want the story. Like it was like how I was saying, like her problem is the match, that she just wants the match because where was the story with Charlotte? Where was the story with Becky? Like, why do you need to use Dom to offset anything and make anything more interesting? Like the Queenie promo with Charlotte Flair was the most memorable thing out of that match build up. Becky punching Dom last year was like the memorable thing out of the Becky and Rhea build up. Like, she needs to have some kind of story. She can't just keep having matches. Anybody can have a good match. You can have a banger anytime, but it's the story that will make you want to go back and watch the match. Like, I will go back and watch SummerSlam 2024 a lot because of what happened with Dom and Liv. I will go back and watch Extreme Rules 2023 with Finn and Edge because there was a story there. I would go back and watch Clash at the Castle. That's when Dom turned on Edge and Ray. I would go back and watch WrestleMania 39 to see Dom versus Ray because Dom had that banging entrance for WrestleMania. You will remember the matches because of what's going on with the story. The story makes the match. Excellent story will make any match excellent. It will make the match rise up to its level. A shitty storyline or no storyline, won't do anything with a good match. You'll just have a good match. That's the problem with AEW right now. You can have some storylines that are good and then everything is elevated with the good story, But if you're just having matches with no storylines, there's no point in watching. Like I could watch a good match whenever, but is there a good story behind it? So you always need stories with matches. You can't just have good matches, and I think that's Rhea's problem. Like I said, Senor said the other example for cross bands is between KO and Sammy. Yeah, that is true, but they've knocked out Sammy for now, so it's not like Kevin is going to be going to Raw like multiple times now. Like transfer window was closing for Raw like last week, so and even then it was still it's the Kevin and Sammy thing is still kind of confusing because why are you going after Sammy now? It doesn't make sense. But for that exception, I don't think they'll be doing cross brand. It's either going to be either Kevin gets pulled into uh Raw some kind of way, like they do like a some kind of trade there, like another trade or something like that, like due to what's happened, I'm sending Kevin over to you or Sammy's going over to Kevin. I don't think it's going to be a cross branded feud when Sammy gets back because since he's taking that pile driver, he's going to probably be out for a couple of weeks. So they have enough time to figure out what they want to do as it relates to which brand is going to be focused on it. Because that could still end up being on SmackDown. And yours said, is R-Truth now part of the Blue brand? I think he is. I didn't think he's been showing up on Raw a lot. Unless he's just floating, but still, they need to kind of explain that. Elizabeth says, Senor says, he is now. I don't know what R-Truth. Maybe he's just R-Truth. Senor says, Dom is more focused to win his match before he goes for a title match. Yeah. I mean, if it's Finn, then we're probably going to get some kind of Finn and Dom match. I just like I said, I hope they just gotta keep going with the progression and Dom to pull the trigger. Like I was thinking with Dom versus Finn, like they could set up like some kind of celebration for Finn's 10th, and then like have Dom attack him there. Like something needs to happen to get that ball rolling because this is pulling teeth at this moment. Senora says Sonya was a better GM than Adam Pierce. Yeah, she was commanding as like the assistant. So yeah, I did like her as an assistant GM. Kendall said if Dom isn't involved with the IC picture, he better win Money in the Bank. That's what I'm still pulling for too. Like he can win IC and then still win Money in the Bank, but I do think he needs to win Money in the Bank this year. Like it's perfect for him. He can hold it for a little while. He can be that little, you know, conniving Eddie Guerrero, rogue, where he's just sneaking around trying to pick his shot for the title, and I think that will work for him. Uh-oh. Oh no, hold on. Oh no. Senor says, I always remember the rumors of Cora J joining the Judgment Day when she interacted with Rhea. Yeah, that was the rumor, but then she stayed in NXT for a while, so he might. Maybe she gets thrown around. Kendall says, Rhea fans can't stand that Dom's chemistry with Liv is more superior and nuclear. They really can't. To this day, we still hear double agent theory with Dom. I'm like, okay, so we're having double agent theory where Dom has repeatedly stuck his tongue down Liv's throat. Like, do y'all want Rhea to be cut? Like, why would Dom be double agent, still be a double agent? Like, Rhea has the title now. And then they want to play it like, well, Dom can go over there and flirt with Tiffany or something like that. Like y'all are just mad that Dom has done more with Liv than he did with Rhea. And that's not Dom's fault. Dom, the actual person Dom, obviously does not have a problem doing all the stuff, nor or his wife don't have a problem with all the stuff that he's doing with Liv. You could have had that with Rhea. As a Rhea and Dom fan, when Rhea wasn't tripping, I say this. There was times where I wanted to have like the marriage proposals. I wanted them to do certain things, but they never did do it. It got really to the point of, okay, why is Dom still hanging around Rhea if you're not going to do anything as it relates to the relationship? Dom sticking around Rhea was to make her look good. And then, like as Ricolo says, now that Dom got pulled away from Rhea, she started falling apart. Now you see how if you actually have a relationship where they can do certain things. Now I'm sure there's certain things they won't do. I don't think we're going to get the Edge and Lita live sex celebration. But it's like they can push push the envelopes a little bit, and they can do certain things. Like right now, I'm thinking, hey, in Las Vegas, Dom can propose to Liv, and then when they have that Paris PLE, was it Clash at the Castle? They can get married there. I'm already thinking far ahead because we're due another wrestling wedding. I actually thought that was going to be Dom and Rhea at the time, but we never did got it because it seems like at a certain point everything got shut down, and it's like, okay, why are you still together if you're not doing anything? At least with Dom and Liv, we have the chemistry. They're still doing something. They're being really cute with each other, and you can see a relationship progressing between the two of them. It's not stagnant. Rhea and Dom got stagnant because it was like a certain point where Rhea wasn't doing anything or didn't want to do anything. It was just like she wanted to keep a status quo. Meanwhile, when we're looking at Liv and Dom, we're seeing it evolve. Like, I would not be surprised if we hit WrestleMania that, like, at the end of Liv's match, we get some kind of proposal from Dom. I would not be surprised. And then you could have the most obnoxious couple planning their wedding all the way from WrestleMania, all the way to the Paris PLE, and then you can have their wedding there, and then just carry on from there. I mean, it'll be at the Paris PLE. It'll be like what, a year, almost a year at that particular point. So it's been like a year. So it's not like it's gonna be like they're hot shotting a wedding at that moment. At least in wrestling terms, it's not being hot shotted. So it makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they could even pull the trigger now. If they're in Vegas for WrestleMania 41, go to one of those drive-in uh wedding chapels, do like what Triple H did to Stephanie McMahon back in the day as an homage, and just go from there. But you know that they would make that work, Liv, because they obviously work on their chemistry, Liv and Dom. And it seems like they're more comfortable with each other too. And I think that's because they're friends and they've been friends for a while. That's why that's why there's the theory that maybe Dom and Liv had a thing before Rhea got involved, because just of how comfortable they are with each other. So yeah, I said all that to say Dom and Liv like have way more chemistry. They're at least able to act on that chemistry. And I think somebody said like on Reddit, like you can see like the difference between Liv being upset with Dom and Rhea being upset with Dom, like how Rhea just tore down Dom, but with Liv, she wasn't dragging him through the mud. Like, she was being passive aggressive with him for that 1 week, but it wasn't like she was dragging him through the mud. She wasn't telling him not to come home. She wasn't, belittling him like Rhea did. So that's two complete contrasts. For a heel couple, that's a contrast. You would think that you would see that from like the face side, where you're just being, where Liv has a right to be upset because she did lose the title, but she was not dragging Dom through the mud just because. But that was a lot to say for that comment. Kendall Bricola says, "Hey Bricola, when Rhea loses the title, she's going to need serious character development. She can't carry the title." Yeah, see, Bricola, what to follow what's your point on that? I think if Liv wins Elimination Chamber, this is going to have to be the time where they use the story to reestablish Rhea's character, because I think they really found out that they can't keep having Rhea as the same character that she was as a heel with Judgment Day till now. Like, she's not that type of character. She's not a Stone Cold Steve Austin where it's just Stone Cold and anybody's gonna cheer for him. She's not that Undertaker type character. Because, like, look at Monday. She had her initial pop on Monday, and then everything else died down after that. She might get a pop for a run in, but then everything dies after that. You can't keep doing the same things. People are gonna catch on. Like, okay, you're just using her to get the pop. You're just using her so the crowd can respond. So if we do get Liv and Rhea at WrestleMania, they need to use this time to reestablish Rhea's character. This is where I said that we need to have She needs to get broken down. You know, you remember when I was talking last year where I said that that Rhea needed to be sad and eat ice cream? This is what needs to happen now. She may not get to an ice cream point, but she needs to get broken down. She needs to hear about Liv and what Liv and Dom planned while she was injured. She probably needs to find out that Dom and Liv hooked up while she was still with Dom. She needs to find out that Dom and Liv planned the attack, where so it wasn't just Liv attacking Rhea. Dom had a hand in it, like luring Rhea into the spot. Like she needs to get broken down, like to the tax. And then after she loses, then she can go away. I think, like I said, I think she got some nagging injuries. Like she can go away for a little bit, and then she can come back. And maybe when she comes back, she's not going to be on Raw brand. She can go on the SmackDown, go join with Damian or something like that. But this should be the opportunity to use the storyline like it should have been used last year. Like she needs to get broken down. She needs her face cracked. Like I was kind of joking around with a friend on the X, like, if they want to keep calling Dom a slut, like you just need to have it where Dom says, okay, while you were over there eating away with Jay, I was over there with in NXT doing good, God knows what. This is before Liv, and then and Liv you can even spin it like Liv knows about his past and still accepts Dom for who he is anyway. Like, yeah, he was running around, but he settled down with me. And he's not cheating on me like he did with you. You can do certain things. Those are those heelish terms. But you can do that to actually hurt Rhea. Like, just have him say, like, hey, I was running around with people in NXT and you didn't suspect a thing. I was running around with Liv while you were injured and you didn't expect a thing. You didn't care. Like, do it like that. Elizabeth says, I think Rhea is losing the title to Liv. I actually think so too. I'm trying to be cautious because I got burned with the Raw premiere. Not really burned because I did account for bullshit, but it's kind of still stings that Liv lost there. But I do think Liv will. I think if everything's aligned, okay, I think she has a great chance of regaining the title, and that'll be her WrestleMania moment because I think Liv deserves a WrestleMania moment. Like she put the company on her back. Same thing with Dom. Like they deserve their moments. Kendall says if Liv wins the Chamber and faces Wyatt at WrestleMania, we need the actual history, including Dom. Yeah, like I was saying, we need the actual history. We need the history. The history needs to come out. We do not need Cole's dumbass sugarcoating shit. We don't need that. Cole, we don't need to have Cole be over there like, oh Dom, I warned Bia about Dom. No, Dom. Cole just needs to shut up. We need the history. We need to have Dom, you know, put in there like why he did what he did to Rhea. Even at the point of risking a riptide, and that probably needs to stop. Like this at this particular moment, Dom shouldn't be touched when it relates to Rhea. So, we need to get that. Dom needs to be able to tear down Rhea. Liv needs to be able to tear down Rhea. We need the history. We need to have where say it like what was it in Dom's interviews? Like remember the ultimatum where she said don't come home without the title? You know, put it out there where Dom is all like, ever since that day I started plotting my revenge against you. Ever since that day where you threatened to kick me out, I've been plotting your downfall. Use it from there. I planned your downfall, and I planned Damien's downfall. Because Damien was that little bro code violator too. He threw Dom under the bus to save his own ass. So you could at least that history needs to come out. I was planning your downfall. I hooked up with Liv. She had the revenge tour. It aligned with what I wanted to do. We fell in love, and here we are now. We plotted to attack you, and I was the one that planned it so you could get injured. Let Dom be diabolical because that's what should have been coming out last year. Like Dom should have been able to use that betrayal to aid in his heat, but because they played it where Rhea didn't care, it didn't come across right. That's just shortchanged Dom, and they reduced him to just taking tendies and video games. But here, they can make Dom be diabolical. And if Dom has kicked out Finn at this particular point, you can do that. Like it was me and Liv that planned it. Finn just came in to help along, and now look at what's happened with Finn. And we planned this. I did this to break your heart. I wanted you to suffer. Go on from there. Ricola says Rhea bad on the mic. She does not do any press, no podcast. She can't push the storyline. Yeah, I mean, she did a lot more interviews. What, in 2023, 2024, kind of? No, 2023. She had a lot more interviews, and it seems like she was doing okay. But now it's like she's not doing anything. And some people are saying, "Well, she has anxiety." I'm like, okay, yeah, I have social anxiety too. But at a certain point, you gotta, buck up and face the music. You gotta do it. Like, if I just don't think it's fair that you got other people that have to be out there busting their ass, like appearances wise, things like that. Liv, Dom, even like Raquel, Carlito, Finn, all these other wrestlers have to do all this stuff, but then because you can claim social anxiety and you're not doing all that much. Like, you're the champion, the company chose you to be the champion. Like, I would think you would be doing some other stuff. No, 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 no. Oh, okay. Charlotte says, Bricola says, Charlotte calling Rhea a kid was a real diss from the heart. Yeah, it was, because she was right. I mean, she just gets out there and started growling. Like, it was just real. That was more like pick me, pick me. Like, what? I never did. I don't like how Charlotte is being handled right now. Senora said, Dom and Liv are always on the same brand. The only time they separated was when she won her first title. Yep, that's true. So they're probably friends. That's probably why they're so comfortable with each other. Love Dawn for Life says, are we waiting for Rhea to get involved? If there's a wedding, maybe see some actual heartbreak come from her. Like, you could do that. Like, you go with if you go where I think that Dom and Liv get engaged at WrestleMania 41, like have Dom do the proposal right in front of Rhea. Just let her be heartbroken. Like, make her, because they can do it like this. Like, she was acting a certain way, but then she realizes that she really did love Dom, but then Dom just stomps on her heart. She's realized it too late. Like, she was putting on this act of like she didn't care, and that she didn't go deep enough, and he didn't last 2 or 3 seconds. But then she sees like Dom acting the way he does with Liv, and then she's realizing it too late that yeah, she did love him, but then she has to sit there and watch where the engagement that she thought she was going to get goes to Liv. That storyline right there, if they can pull that off, that would be great. Like, she was sitting there, you could have that self reflection of like, crap, I thought I was going to be getting that engagement, but then she has to watch it go to Liv. Let's see. Bricola says Rhea has to reinvent herself. That character of all powerful mommy has run its course. The all powerful mommy is just boring because nobody else can get up to her level because they won't book anybody else to her level. Like, there's some other people that could, maybe Gulia, Stephanie, Zarya, but still, like, you shouldn't be so high and mighty that nobody has a chance, or nobody thinks you have a chance against them. You say what you want about Roman Reigns, but at least Roman Reigns would be selling and getting his ass kicked, to make the other person look good. And this is even when he was the champion. Like, it wasn't like he was coming in there and just being Omni Man and one punching people. He wasn't doing that. He was selling his ass off. Rhea doesn't do that, and that's what they needed to happen with her. Like, if she was going to win, like Roman does, then she needed to be showing the weakness. You can be a powerful character and a powerful wrestler, but show weakness. I mean, when Bronson was running around, he was showing weakness, and like he was a really strong dude too, Big Bronson Reed, but he was showing weakness. Who's another strong one? Jacob Fatu. Now Jacob Fatu is like nigh invincible too, but he does get his ass kicked. Now compare him to like Damian Priest, like where he's no sells anything. Does anybody really believe that Damian Priest should be no selling anybody. No. But you got Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu is being presented perfectly where he's crazy and you know he's probably gonna win, but there's times where you look at him and go, oh crap, he could lose. We don't get that with Rhea. And that's the problem. Like she shouldn't be built where it's not believable for all these other women to beat her. Like she should have been booked differently. Let's see. Senor says, I noticed during the whole Turd Twins and Judgment Day feud that Rhea didn't hit Finn. She didn't. She hit JD and maybe Harley, but she didn't hit Finn. Like you would think, the one that said that, I put, I what was it he said that he was the devil in Dom's ear regarding Liv. Like you would think that she would hit him, but she didn't. But she would reserve all her rage for Dom. Like at that moment, I would think that, hey, maybe you could start thinking that, oh, maybe Dom wasn't completely in on it. I'm thinking that, I still think that Dom was completely in on it and that's what he wanted to do. But that would have been a nice chance to add some empathy from Rhea, is saying like, oh, maybe Dom was coerced. For her character, she might think that Dom was coerced. He wasn't, but I'm just saying. But they never did go for it. She didn't hit Finn, but Dom, she was hitting all over the place. Kendall says Finn left Liv and AJ Styles to join Judgment Day. Liv could bring up that history. Yeah, I think a lot of people have said that Liv can bring up that Finn did leave her, and that it was just a matter of time where she was going to, get her revenge on him as well. She took over Judgment Day, and then now she's kicking out Finn for doing what he did to her. So I mean, there's that history again. I mean, that can come back around when Finn finally turns. When Dom finally turns on Finn, you can always just say that Finn, you were never the leader and you were never part of the plan. And I think that is it. That was an hour and a half. Good job, everybody. Um, I'll be back on Monday to talk to Aftermath for Raw. Hopefully we get progression. We need progression, storyline progression. That's all we're asking for. I'm not sure what's going to be going on with Liv. Maybe we'll get some progression of we'll find out if Io gets the match at Elimination Chamber against Rhea for the title. We need more progression with Finn and Dom. We need the progression of even Liv, Dom, and Raquel. We just need some progression here. Qualifying matches are qualifying matches. I don't really care. The only one I care about is just what's going on with Seth and Finn, and whether or not if that goes as scheduled or something happens to that match. But anywho, I think that is it. I thank y'all so much for the likes, and I thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been a blast. Thank you for listening, Shane Freud with some EO and Rhea stands. And I will talk to you guys on Monday. Bye bye for now.